Hello and welcome back to Bump Love. If you're new here and like content on motherhood, parenting and womanhood, stay right here. Consider liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing and hitting the notification bell so you know every time a video goes up. If, however, you're an OG, welcome back from last week. We saw you in the comment section. We love engaging with you. We love you writing to us. It's been amazing. This week, we're having a thought-provoking conversation on aging and the role reversal that happens when a parent becomes the child. But before we do, Angie, Amy, the bespoke planner. What is this?
Wow.
Wow. Just
Wow.
Right?
Like a slice of paradise in the middle of
Everything
I
else.
know.
Yeah.
Breathtaking.
And with
Thank
our
you.
clothes from fashion episodes,
Yes.
Right?
the whole mix, the shoes from Shoe Puzzle, the hair, the makeup.
Zuri.
Oh my gosh, shades
Shades
of
of
beauty.
beauty.
I feel like we're in heaven. Right? So in the comment section, if you are to marry one of us, who? Because we are something. And then after you're done, I want you to call Kemi, the bespoke planner, because when it comes to things like this, she has a heart from where they've come from. So Kemi, where did this come from? Like, what was the thought behind this?
Occasionally, when you get an opportunity for a couple to give you a chance to dream,
To
and
dream
think
and
outside
create.
the box.
Yeah.
So Jacqueline and Johnson were one of those
Couples.
clients. And then, of course, everything here was executed by the, what could I say? The everything, pink coconut. We're thankful for that.
Pink coconut.
Yeah. So what Kemi does is that I come up with these creations and then Pink Coconut executes them. So without Pink Coconut, Kemi is nothing. Without Kemi,
Pink Coconut is nothing.
No,
Yeah.
Pink Coconut would still be something either
You come from far.
Yeah, we've
You come
seen
from
that.
actually think.
yes.
And I think I've heard Angie say this a lot, that when she's given an opportunity to create, I feel like you're more in your element as opposed to do for me like this.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
this picture on Pinterest.
Yeah.
So couples out there, when you do contact her, allow her the opportunity to create.
dream.
You will be wowed either way. Yeah.
With creatives, guide them, then let them do that.
Yeah.
So usually it works much better that
Yeah.
way.
I
love doing that with creatives. This is breathtaking.
It is.
Yes,
Beautiful.
it really is. I can't wait for, I don't know, Mr. Mlondo. I know, we
25
can
years?
renew. We can renew vows. 25 years might be a bit too far. 15 sounds really good. Before I grow old. Right? But anyway, talking about aging and growing old, when did you guys ever realize a role reversal in your life, between a parent and a child, and what was that like?
I think the producer should just allow that I am always the one who goes first.
Right?
But it is okay.
I'm trying these days.
Yes, you are. So I think it has become more apparent in the last maybe 2 or 3 years. I've talked about this on the show quite a bit, that my dad has been ill for a very long time. So he's been ill from, the time we were even younger, but it has sort of escalated and become, he's become more vulnerable in the last maybe 3 or so years. And so that, I think for me, the whole idea of a parent becoming a child, quote unquote, has become much more of a reality in the last couple of years. So of course there's a lot of care and support that is given to him, both emotionally, financially. My mom is still by his side. She's not out of the picture. She's still taking care of him. But because she's doing that, I also have to support her. We have to support her as her children, emotionally mainly. Yeah, because, being next to my dad or having to take care of him and being by his bedside is emotionally draining, is mentally draining. You guys have been home to see my dad, so you know. So I was having this conversation with my mom yesterday, and she was like, oh, that's a really tough topic. And I said, yeah. And she was like, I think I've had to rely on you more emotionally. And I was telling her, I don't feel like it's, I I don't feel weighed down by it, because now it's like we are friends. The ground has sort of been leveled, that she relies on me emotionally and on all of us. I'm talking about myself because I'm the one who is here, but on my siblings as well. And then I rely on her emotionally as well. So it's sort of like an exchange. And I told her, I was like, but Mom, I know that there are things you don't tell me. I don't think she burdens me like 100%. There are things that she'll offload onto my plate. So yeah, for me, I think it's become more apparent in the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mine has been going on for quite a while, but it became more apparent, I think, about 3 years ago when I started taking care of my mom. But that role, about 10 years ago when I started taking care of my young brother, is when I started feeling it. I'm like, okay, so this responsibility is actually mine, because I had to take care of him and then take care of them. So I've become the parent, taking care of everyone. So he started living with us when he was about 7, and that was 10 years ago. He's finishing Form 6 this year, and we've been living with him since then. So would basically pay his tuition. Everything was on me, precisely me. And for me, that's when I realized that, now I'm becoming the parent here. Wow. And now that was okay. I was like, okay, this I can manage. Where it had to dawn on me and hit me was 3 years ago when my mom got the cancer. I actually lost my mom this year. On the 30th of June this year, I lost my mom. Very, very sad. My best friend. But before she left, before she was called to be with the Lord, guys, what I had to go through, because she had to come and live with me. She had this problem that started, I think, right after COVID. She felt a very strange pain in her stomach. She didn't know what it was. So she had to go and have that operation where they had to remove her uterus. So that meant her coming to live with me because she had had an operation. We were literally taking care of her, everything. She was the baby, like we would wash her, we would bathe her. She was very vulnerable. It was hard. But for me, that's when it really dawned on. I'm like, okay, this is literally happening. So we were with her that whole time. She recovered. We were happy. We thought, oh yeah, she has recovered, because it was a cancer. It was endometrial cancer. So after 2 years, we did the whole cancer screening, the whole role, and she got better. And then it returned beginning of this year.
Yes.
Then I had to do the whole thing again. She had to come back home, the whole drill. But unfortunately, she didn't make it. Like for me, that's when it dawned on me.
I guess by extension, your dad. You now have to sort of take care of your dad.
Yeah, I had to take care of my dad, but he was a bit busy because he does farming in the village. So for that time, he was okay leaving her to be with us. And then he had to go and do, but he would often come to, check on her and stuff like that. It's just that Mom, because she didn't want, like you said about your mom, like she didn't want to burden us. Like even this time, for the operation, it was okay because we needed to, like that one was obvious. But then this time for her to come back, she's like, no, I don't want to be close. And with the Baganda culture, we have that whole bako thingy. You don't want to, be very close to your son-in-law and stuff like that. The space was there, but she still didn't want to be with us. But there was no option. Under the same roof, but there was no option. She had to come and live with us.
I mean, like
and
now,
it was,
now that your mom passed, I bet your dad needs more. I don't know, like when a man loses his wife.
Oh yes, he does. But I'm glad that we had a plan. It's like God was orchestrating for this to happen, because a year before that, we had already organized. There's a farm that we had set up. There's farming, a lot of things to keep him busy. So it was the perfect time for him, Like even with this, even now, I'm glad that we have something to keep him busy, because that's the only comfort he needs. Of course, the emotional, we call on him, every other day. But I'm just glad that he has something that keeps him busy.
Especially with men, they process grief and pain in totally different ways.
Oh,
By the time I was 8, my mom was 50. So now that I'm in my 40s, I can't thread a needle. You know, putting the thread through the eye of the needle, I can't do that. I realized then that my mom can't do this. So she'd always call me, you know, we had a singer machine, and she'd call me and say, thread.
Help me do that.
So when I look back, those must have been, of course then I didn't feel it, but those must have been the first signs to tell me that, you know what, things are going to change. But I think it was 12 years ago when my mom is one of those super strong, super powerful, super no-nonsense ladies. Anybody who knows no longer will tell you, yeah. And she couldn't get off a chair in a restaurant.
Oh dear.
It dawned on me, how is it possible that my super strong mom can't get up? So she was like, and you know, it hits you in a completely different way. But for me, for my mom, those were the two. No, the third incident was 3 weeks ago. My mom remembers everybody's number. Oh, wow. She never uses her phone. She can calculate like 4,300 divided by 9 times 12.5, and she'll give you an answer without using a calculator. Wow. I asked her for Louise's number, and she started 07. You people.
Oh dear.
For me, that was like a light bulb moment. I was like, Lord, of all the things that should happen to my parents, dementia shouldn't come, you know, because then you lose yourself. Because my parents are old, but anybody who meets them, their minds are, you know, they are 100%. When I was creating this, Daddy came over and we were walking through this, and he was saying, you've done such a lovely job. And every time I tell him, I get my strength, I say it, I get my strength from my mother. I get everything creative in my body from my dad.
Nice.
So when you dial back to my mom, I was like, is it possible Mommy cannot remember a phone number? It just didn't make sense. On my dad's side, one day he was walking and he tripped. You know, like a toddler?
What?
Not tripping like an adult, but of like... And then, you know, he held on to my hand. I was like, Daddy, are you okay? He said, these days my balance isn't that good. And I was like, you know, like now my parents are older than you guys, his parents. So I see these things. Then like last year he said, you know, get me a driver. And I was like, but Daddy, you can't go. He said, Sichala Babulonji, get me a driver. And I was like, yeah. But well.
I think for my mom, she's like more in that area. So as all of you know, she's always been around the cradle. Loves the cradle. Does Jaja Kaka.
Yes.
She's literally always at the cradle. You know, just to keep her, you know, her mind alive. But recently something happened. I called her. So usually we take the time, I drive her to and from the cradle, and it's kind of like our time when we bond. So I was telling her, you know, I'm kind of having difficulty in terms of time to keep up, especially with the kids. Now I'm ending up, because I have to take her home, I end up having to go home with the kids late. So I was like, you know, what would you think about having another car? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll see on the road. You know, I don't have a permit. I'm like, Oh, I was like, you don't have a permit? She's like, it expired.
How many years ago?
I'm like, when? 2 years ago. And I don't want to drive without I'm like, okay. I went away thinking, my mom would have gotten her her permit. Like, a permit is not an issue, but now it is an issue. And then I remember there was a time I really couldn't pick her up, and she stayed at home. I called her, I'm like, Mommy, is everything okay? She's like, Auntie, you didn't pick me up. The mommy I know would have called the world, would have called Brian, would have called her sons, would have called Uber, would have done everything possible to make sure she's where she's supposed to be. Or even like a wedding, she will call me and she's like, Mimi, I'm going to this one's wedding. Can you take me? I'm like, this is a woman who would have stuff to do without you having to be there for her. And all of a sudden now she wants someone close. Every decision she makes, she wants to call you. Now, Mimi, I was thinking like this happened, as for like those things of wrangles with neighbors. For the years that I've known Mommy, she's never called us for any wrangle or to support her in any, even the time when there were elections and people were throwing stones in her house. She never called us. But this was a small, Mimi, come. I'm like, what's up? They're pouring water outside my gate. I'm like,
I can't fight this
like I can't fight this battle anymore. Come, Mimi. The guys of Chireka High, now Chireka High is like 6 houses away from her. Can you talk to the headmaster? I'm like, what? Like, how did I get, like, how did we get here? Or there was a time she told me she needed me to buy her a Bible. And then I asked her, but what's wrong with the one you have? She said, the words are little. The Bible is huge.
Yes, but the words are...
But she's like, the font, she's like, I wish I could do like this, but I can't. So I'm like, so we need to take you for glasses? She's like, are you sure I've reached there?
She wasn't wearing
glasses before.
Oh, wow.
So she just calls me, she's like, I think I need a new Bible. You think So we go take her, she wore glasses. She was like,
now I can see.
You mean now my eyes need support? You know, so she keeps saying things like even her which shock her, that then also shock me.
Oh, that's interesting. And I feel like we've kind of shared, some of the challenges, but let's expound on it a bit more. What do you think are some of the challenges that come with this role reversal?
Oh, wow. It takes an emotional toll on you. For me, it really did. It really, really did. Financially, there's a time I had to empty my account for my mom. Because I'm like, why am I keeping the money when she needs to have this medical attention when she needs it? So it takes a toll on you emotionally, financially, physically. You hardly have time for yourself. I remember early this year, I would wake up to literally her. Like you have work, you have kids of your own, you have a lot going on, but she needs you. And she would be my first priority. So for me, it really took a toll. A huge toll.
Maybe because I'm born at the tail end of my family, a lot of things bypass me. I just find like when my siblings have done and fear me, I just like floss. I floss through. But what I have done, and I think I said putting it in my head, is that I have refused to label or to accept that my parents will ever be a challenge to me. Because I know it's a slippery slope. It's like also parenting. When you start bananga kids, before you know it, it's like really you get me? So I'm like, because my parents are already old and they are both old, so the time is already here. So I just have this thing. Is it emotionally draining? I don't know. I just love doing it. Is it physically draining? I don't know. I just know that, every weekend, rain or shine, I have to go sleep in my parents' room. We bang kabozi as they fall asleep. Of course, mom falls asleep first. Then I carry on with dad. When they both fall asleep, either I sleep there or I go to another room. Because I was like, if I start looking at it that way, I'm not saying that people shouldn't, but in my case, I'm like, if I do, I will become that child who is like,
old people
have called again, you know, because the truth is, it actually is very heavy. As I said,
no, but it's good that you're actually talking that you bring out that aspect of having that attitude of accepting it, because it really helped me. I didn't see it as no burden, regardless of how draining it was. I was actually happy that at the end of her era,
a chance
I
to
was
give
glad.
back.
Like I was so glad I did what I did.
But you see, Rosette, you generally have a positive outlook to
To
life.
us.
In life.
Yes.
Generally. So for
Mostly
me,
the
for the
exception.
things that I really love so much, I go out of my way to make them as fun and as loving and as normal as possible. So when I'm with my parents, I'm in a flow.
Yeah.
I feel like everything is just, any challenge that comes, I'm like, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on.
Yeah.
That said, if you were to reverse and speak about the challenges of the parent side,
Yeah.
so my mom has accepted.
Yeah.
But my dad, I see,
There's like
he
a fight.
finds,
Yeah.
he wants to make decisions on his own. He wants to pay his way. So for me, I feel the challenge more on my parents'
But we can
side.
say that men want to die with their egos. Even at old age. Because
Yeah.
my dad,
Naturally.
I think because my mom was my dad's best friend. And every time he needed something, it would be hard to ask, not him.
Yeah.
You
Now
would
that-
also do that.
Now that
Yes.
she's
Always
not
tells
working.
mommy,
Yes.
you ask
Exactly,
me, I
she would,
can't.
she would always be the one to call us. But now that she's gone, Bambi, I feel for him.
So now you have sort of
Now you have to ask him.
Yeah.
Now I have
Just
to ask
asking.
him.
But now he's trying to allow because,
Yeah.
man, if you're not asking me, I might not necessarily be thinking
Yeah.
all the time. So he
True.
now has to.
To ask.
Yeah.
Actually, the other day, I was amazed that he had to call me about a wrangle that he was having in the village. That would be his wife. Like they would literally jazz. He would call and tell her all these things. I was like, what? Dad is now calling me. Okay, now I'm left with him to,
Yeah.
To take
to
care of.
prepare for,
I feel like one of the challenges that we have, the Bible says wisdom belongs to the aged and understanding to the old. I feel that when roles are reversed, many times we do not take in their wisdom. Yeah, it becomes a thing of like, what do you know? Kati, Holy Mukade, let's do for you. And we we block the source of their wisdom. We block because it belongs to them.
Yeah.
They have it.
Yeah.
They have wisdom. They have understanding
Yeah.
to the world now and in the future. But what happens is that when these roles reverse, suddenly you start to
thinking,
disrespect. There's even high.
it
There are even
all?
high. There are even high. There are some people.
Some people,
There are some
yeah.
people.
And
Then
we don't do it intentionally.
yes. Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
You might even find yourself disrespecting them.
Dishonoring.
Dishonoring them, and we know what dishonor.
Yeah.
You know the Bible. What the Bible says: honor your father and mother, and you will live long. But what happens when they switch and they become that child? And you can see it, like when you go to hospitals. Daddy bakugambye nawe terera. Terera daddy. You know, because ekikulu daddy nawe. Yena nonewe yogeza. You think you get choka ya talina sente. Yenza muyamba.
Their children who do
Yeah.
they do
Let
their
me tell you, they do it, and they don't do it intentionally. You see it especially in hospital when they're the ones that have to clean their parents, and they don't want to, and then when they have to, the thing that they have inside them, and it might not even be a parent who they love, who has been with them, quote unquote. It might be a parent who is their parent because they are their parent, and now they have to
maybe
take
they were
care of them.
absent. Yeah.
And now they're feeling this way. So I feel like there's so many challenges in terms of how we relate with them, in terms of the wisdom that they give us and the honor that we give back to them. But it's very hard to give honor to someone nga they've poo-pooed on themselves. They are drooling. You can feel sorry, but honoring them is a whole different. People hide parents.
Oh, yeah.
But people, we should honor
People
our
hide parents. When that time comes, all of people hide parents when they are in secondary school, when they are married, they don't attend weddings. Katolo, when the parent is unable to walk, is ill,
But as
or is
Kumla
very
not being here, not bump lovers.
no, not
bump
bump
lovers.
Honestly, lovers. But yeah, those are some of the challenges that
so
I've
true.
seen that happen. You find that they are becoming. You know how our parents tell us what to do. No, I'm the parent, I have said.
Yeah.
So when the roles will reverse, you're like, yeah, I'm the parent now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
But
And
I
I find-
find it's so deep, Manuela.
Yeah, no, I find that, I think that for someone not to honor their parents in their moments of vulnerability, chances are there were already some honor gaps before that.
Oh, yes.
And this
Yeah.
makes it
And
worse.
this makes it worse. It's just
Yeah.
like now you are even here vulnerable, pooping on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, or
I have
it
to
comes
clean
from the
you.
frustration that Angie and Manuela, rather, and Rosette talked about, you know, where your mind has not been renewed to see this as an opportunity to bless and honor your parents, to take care of them in their vulnerable stage. You see it as they're encroaching on my, you know, that's where the whole black tax conversation also comes in, and you're like, Kale, now even the parents who should have been taking care of themselves, now I have to. And so it becomes more of a burden than a blessing, you know, for you to be able to take care of your parents. But one of the other challenges that I recognize is just seeing your once capable, bold, strong, able-bodied parent becoming vulnerable is such a challenge. I mean, you guys, my dad is exactly like your dad. If he was able to walk and speak now, my dad would be in his car driving to go and visit people in hospitals, because that was his work. That was his ministry, you know. And so I remember even when he retired from active ministry, it was so hard for him to stay home. So hard. But now, just seeing this man who used to drive himself, used to take himself to places, full of life, you know, he's a people person, people love to be around him, and now he's just seated there in a chair, or he's lying in a bed and able to take care of himself and dependent on his little children and his wife and the entire community around him, I think can be heartbreaking. And I think that's been one of the challenges, at least for us, you know, because it's one thing for you to have your aging parent still there and aging, they are healthy, they are walking. But when, but when there's the added sickness, you guys, we've had some tough days. I will leave it at that. There's been some tough days.
So are there any measures you've put in place now that you're adults? For your parents, you know, is there any medical insurance that you're planning of? Is there, you know, anything that you're doing to ensure you take care of them?
I'll go first. As I said, I'm born at the tail end, so my older siblings are doing most of the big stuff. So I'll speak for myself, because I'm sure you guys will speak for what they're doing. In my case, I decided that every weekend, either Friday into Saturday or Saturday into Sunday, if we don't have Bump Love, or Sunday into Monday, I go home. I go to my parents' home. I have a sleep cot that I pull into their room. And as I've just mentioned before, I will be there like the whole day. We bang kavozi. I drink wine with my dad. I massage his feet. I pray with my mom. We do a little cooking. I don't allow her to overstand because of her back. But the most beautiful time is in the evening. Like after we've watched the news, then we go to the room and we talk. Then mommy, we never finish.
Let me tell you guys, you can call Angie. And she's like, man, I'm talking to daddy. Now there's a lot of cabos.
I want to know, like I do want to know, like
what is it your jazzy?
Because they'll ask about our son,
children,
they'll ask about Charlie, they'll ask about
business,
OJ, then they'll ask about business, then they'll ask about the Mulondos. My mom really likes Manuela. And I love her. Yeah, she's a no-nonsense woman. Someone was there, hey, but Manuela, can't she really mop and what? She was like, tell Manuela not to discuss with sheep.
I remember.
Yeah, the lion does not discuss with sheep. And
mommy, I love you. So once you're done, this message reach you, right?
Yeah. So once we're done with that, Kabozi, mommy slowly fades away. Her sleep pattern is very good. Then I'll stay with daddy. Then maybe if sleep jams, we go to the sitting room, we'll watch Al Jazeera. I've been doing this for a while. But all my siblings say, because sometimes I ask, am I doing enough? You notice I ask that a lot. I always feel that I need to carry my weight. And my siblings are like, Angie, just keep doing that.
Nice.
Just only that. Because what we did is that we divided responsibilities.
Like Mommy Kubwa takes care of anything to do with the housekeeping, Mommy Louise takes care of anything to Daddy's welfare, his hair, his nails. Then my brother is for medical. Another one is for this. So for me, what I'm preparing and I'm continuing to prepare is at least I take off 2 days and I just be home with them.
And you have no idea how powerful that is. I think that in their old age, because now we are grown and we have families of our own, we have our own responsibilities.
We are busy.
Yes, it's very easy to think, after all, they are taken care of. Their medical bills are taken care of. Their food supplies are taken care of. I will get there when I get there.
True.
But like you, I'm also spending a lot of time with my parents. Obviously, my mom needs support and needs help with taking care of Dad. But I find that, you know, my mom and I, we have such good conversations. I feel like we are at that place where, first of all, we get each other. We are a bit similar in terms of our emotional needs. We are both feelers.
Hi, Lillian. She's my friend.
My mom is Angie's friend. She's been sending Angie messages. I'm like, what are you talking about?
They
update her. They do their connection.
No, you mean Angie, you passed me like this.
You are coming back, and I'm coming back with a bang.
No, she's a lovely lady.
Yeah, so I think that quality time is very, 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 it does a lot for them. Yeah, it does a lot for them. But I also wanted to mention, my mom started a school in 2020. It was a daycare previously and then transitioned into a school. And when Dad fell sick, you know, before that she had been saying, Rachel, come, let's do this school together, let's grow it. So, you know, when Dad got ill and, you know, she had to be by his side, it sort of became inevitable that I would kind of take over, which I have done. So I'm an educator, my friends.
She joined early childhood.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes. So I'm supporting Mom there. And of course, when I get home every day and I'm giving her updates about school, she feels like, oh, okay. At least it's one less thing to worry about. Yeah. And I feel like just offloading from their plates is really, really helpful. Medical insurance would be great, but medical insurance has an age cap.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will not do medical insurance for my dad, for example, even though he needs it. But because
and also when someone is already ill, they usually don't do insurance.
Yeah. So, but we pitch in a lot as the children. And we've had such immense support from our church family.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
When Angie kept talking about her siblings and how they divide roles, I was just reminded about the beauty of having a bond with siblings or having many siblings who have joint effort. Because when it comes to me, I'm like at the front line with no support. It's just me and Jane, but me being at the front line, so doing the mostest. Like if it's not done, it's going to be a struggle for it to be done. Yeah, but in regards to what I'm doing with Dad, is now being more engaged because I was very, very close to Mommy. We would talk. We had a very beautiful relationship. I really miss her. But with Dad now, I like that the bond has started. It has started because it was there, but it wasn't that deep. But now it has started. We have scheduled to go visit him at least once every month, be with him. I'll take him the keys, but also regularly talk to him. I call him every often. There's this farm that I'm doing in the village. It's become very busy and I'm happy with that. And I've decided to put aside some money because with Mom, thankfully there was an account that we had money on, so it was all, you know, used for her funeral and all that. So I'm planning the same for him. The things that we now need to talk about. I was very impressed when I saw an old woman. Of course it was a white, who, you know, she does videos. She's a very, very funny old woman on Instagram. So she was, you know she was saying, oh my God, today I've gone and already paid for my casket. And then the other day, and she talks about it very, you know, happily. And then the other day she wore skeleton earrings and she said, I'm wearing this because one day I'm going to look like this. She's so hilarious. I love the vibe she had on dying because the truth is it's inevitable. The other days we got a facilitator at Newman's who was telling us about drills, like a fire drill, you know, at our workplace. Are you guys having these fire drills? Do you think it's something that can be avoided? And we all were like, So have you thought about a death drill? If you die right now, have you thought about what would happen?
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's like, this is inevitable.
Yeah.
For the fires you can avoid, but death, and many of you don't want to talk about it. So for me, I easily plan and talk about death because it's inevitable. Yeah.
So it's interesting when we have this conversation. I had it with Brian, and so I've shared with you guys that Brian and I talk a lot. We have conversations. So one of the conversations that we had was on when we are old, what would happen, and so that's what we are now doing for our parents, which is you need a roof over your head where no one is coming to knock on the door.
So true.
Wherever that is. So does she have a roof over her head? Secondly, does she have a source of food? So like a farm where you do mixed. There's a cow which milks. There's a chicken, some small chickens, some goats, some matoke, some small, those tomatoes, onions. They can keep them busy. They can keep them busy because it will, and this is the food that they are eating. Even if they are not the ones growing it and they are too old, they'll have someone who can who can harvest their food. But then also they need a source of money, a constant source of money, which can help them get things that they can't grow in the garden. For example, toilet paper, bar soap, all those cooking oil. So can they have like Wurentos or a place where they get constant, where they can wake up in the morning and say, Kati,
I've gone to pick my money.
I've gone to pick money, and they are moving on to go and pick their money. All money is going onto their account, and they are waking up to go to the bank to withdraw money to buy toilet paper. Or at the very least have a shop near home where they go and sit to make sure things are going well. Where the profit just goes back into them or into facilitating the things they need. So they are not actually paying cash, but they can get the toilet paper, the cooking oil. So that is for just everyday living. And then there is medical insurance. If you start early, if you start early, there's this one I know, Kalongo, but Prudential has this really, really nice product for the aged. They did it in partnership with Stanbic. An amazing product. The thing about for us, we can say things like, I don't want to do insurance. Will I die? Shall I die? When will I fall sick? But for our parents, we know that they are going to get sick. They are going to be unwell. So that product, if you've refused all other insurance, at the very least, get insurance for your parents. And it's about, depending on the age of your parent, you can honestly get, and it's for the entire year. For dental, it covers everything. So for us, that's where we are at. And yes, we've had some conversations, like with my mom. What does death look like? What does she want it to look like? Where does she want it to happen? What does she want us to do? Who should not talk and who should talk?
It's important to have those conversations now.
It is important to have. It is.
So true.
While we're having this entire conversation, I'm hearing the I from each of us. And I'm wondering, like, who takes on the role of caregiving? And I would like us to expand it a bit. There's our in-laws. There's our own parents. Like, who in our families is taking on this caregiving role? Or are we back to that thing where husbands we are back to taking care of children as the husbands are on our way? Like, what does that look like? What does that dynamic look like?
I'll go first again. For my parents, primarily, all of us chip in, but my older brother Fred he's something. He is something. He has literally moved his life around to ensure that he's there for his parents. And being the firstborn, he has been a great leader for the rest of us. Even me, who comes from the end with my little whatever, but he has really led us in that direction of our parents will ask for nothing because they gave us everything. For us, they gave us everything. So with that one, my brother is doing really well, but as I said, we split roles. One brother does medical. They can't be on insurance. My mom is 83, my dad is 86, so that's not an option. So one brother is taking care of that, another brother takes care of something else. So we have split it up. But in my case, I would speak for my children. If I collapsed today, I know the child that would be here faster than all the rest.
Are you going to say the name?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
All of them, you know, with
All of them
children,
care.
Yeah.
all of them care in a different way.
Oh, yes.
Right? Somebody would think it would be my firstborn child, Charles. But most likely it would be, Asante is my everything. You get what I mean? But I'm saying in terms of being intentional.
Yeah.
It would be my second born,
Leo.
Mwisho.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
It would be my second born,
interesting.
Mwisho. Mwisho and Michael would get to me first. But the person who would look after me until the day I died would be my firstborn son, Charles.
Really?
For sure. Asante, that's default. It's expected. You get me. But my son, my firstborn, will carry me, he will feed me, he will bathe me, he will walk me to my last day. Of that one, I am sure.
You're sure.
But the one who will be first here,
That's Mwisho.
that's Mwisho. That's Mwisho.
Leo.
Leo would be here first, but long term, it would be Charles.
Wow.
So yeah.
I like that you have an assurance. I think there's something beautiful about knowing who would do what.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think for us, what has happened is, first of all, I have two siblings who live outside the country, but they are very much involved in taking care of my parents, mostly financially because they can't be here to do like the physical stuff. And then the sister who follows me and myself are here to do the heavy lifting, especially in terms of emotional, psychosocial support, physical support. So like if mom needs, to run errands, it's myself and Sarah who are going to do that.
Yeah.
Sarah, I know, pitches in very heavily financially, especially for medical things. Because now my dad is on some protein supplements and we need all these medical supplies because we have like a mini hospital at home.
Yeah.
And so I know that she pitches in quite a bit in terms of medical stuff. And then I kind of help mom run the home.
Yes.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to think about like meals and we're running out of detergent and I need to wash daddy's sheets and things like that. So I do which works very well for me
For
because
you?
I like home things.
No.
Home things. Yeah, so if she needs like repairs to be done at home, I'm like, I know a guy, I know a plumber, so I'm able to help her like with home stuff. And we do it jointly with my husband. So it's not like I'm somewhere at the forefront taking care of my parents and Ben is wondering what is going on. And he's been very instrumental as well in taking care. So it's joint effort.
Yeah, everybody
Joint
put
effort,
together.
everybody. Yeah.
I mean,
for my
we've been
sister-
raised in, like I've shared with you guys before, my mom does this equal thing.
Yeah.
Like if she calls me today, she'll look in her face and now it's time
It's
for
time
Baba.
to call Baba.
I called Manuela.
Then she checks her and I say, I called Larry. Now let me call this one. She has this mechanism where
She's
she,
very good. No one is left
But what's
out.
interesting is we come back in that group and then divide by 3.
You still divide whatever she's given.
Whatever role she has given. So what's most interesting is that when she has called like Rinaldi and said, I need to go to the dentist, my teeth are hurting.
You
She says the receipt and you divide.
by 3. So you learned from her.
So we learned from her how to divide, But I will say that I feel that we have this thing between us or among us. It's an unspoken rule. We are all there.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say that it's me or it's my brother or my baby brother. We are all there. We all come in for mom, like when she needs us. The other day she sent us a message. Guys, we need to go to the village. What? Now what you do with that information?
It's up to you.
It's up to you. But I have to go to the village with all of you.
Yeah.
So now we are there sorting ourselves. Now you who will do this, who will do this, who will do that, who will do this. So I feel that the way she's raised us, we all know that it's going to be a turn-taking thing.
Yeah.
We all know, or a division of role thing, like or a division of role thing. Yeah.
So my sister Jane is married to a pastor.
Ah.
Mshala Msumba.
So Mchala Msumba.
Have they made one? Yeah.
They have.
You're not the one this
They
year.
have.
Yeah, they made it.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
So in regards to emotional, do you want someone to pray for you? Are you ill? We are going to pray. But anyway, the truth is I don't want to say that I've been the only one there. Yes, I might be there financially mostly, but she's there physically. Like she will do the most. She will be there. When you call her, you need anything, my sister will be there, plus her husband. My brother, he actually missed about 2 months of school taking care of mom. We needed to be together. Like I remember that time would just be the three of us with her, guys, would be complete. He didn't care who didn't do what, like we were a team. And that's all she needed. That's all we needed of each other. Yeah, so.
And you guys come from such a small family, the
It's
three
very
of you.
small. So, yeah.
You really need each other. Maybe, ladies, as a last question, we know that this is an inevitable fact of life. Our parents are growing old, and we too will get to that point when we are also in these positions. I would like to speak about what feelings this invokes in all of us.
I'm so scared of growing old, you people.
I know, me too.
It's a bit scary.
Every year that I'm celebrating the birthday, I'm like,
Just like, oh my God.
Are you serious?
The years are closing in and closing in and closing in. Yeah, I feel fear and anxiety sometimes about getting to that age. I worry. I think about, I guess, not being able to do things. And losing my ability to, whether it's to move around and, you know, your body changing, your face changing. And yeah, I think for me it's mostly fear and anxiety. I worry about like what my kids would look like I worry about that reversal role, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
being
guess when it
vulnerable.
comes to Micah, you're thinking, you don't want him to do this alone.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that he's settled by that time. And
he has other siblings.
yes. But also that I am able to take care of myself. Take care of myself, you know, like the scenario you were describing in terms of, you know, financially, like I'm not entirely
Dependent on him.
Yeah, on him and on his siblings. I know because my parents are not entirely dependent on us. My mom is still making a bit of an income from the school. And so there's that, she depends on us, but not entirely. And I think I would want a similar scenario in my case, that I'm not looking to him or my children for, give me 5K so I can buy, send me 50K so that I can do this, send me, you know. So I think for me, I look at the future sometimes with worry and anxiety, which is strange because I am a believer and the Bible says not to worry.
Not to worry.
Right.
Yeah, so when I find myself getting into that space, I'm like, Lord, my future is in your hands, ultimately.
I'm actually optimistic about the future because I have put it in the Lord's hands. And I'm praying to God that when that time reaches, I don't have to depend on my children. I'm praying that I would have enough invested to take care of us, to take care of our old age, enough invested to take care of everything so that they can also live their lives, so that they can also enjoy with their families. Like, you don't want to put that burden on them. Of course, you don't know, many families, of course, have had that arrangement, but the children still want to do something. Because you're like, I mean, it's cute.
It's different.
It's very cute. So I'm praying to God that that's what happens in my case. But it's such a rude awakening. Like even just now, every year that comes, you're like, what? I'm 30 what? Again?
Almost 40.
Slippery road to 40. But what I'm trying to work on mostly is my physical well-being.
Yes.
I want to, like, I'm not very intentional lately, but I want to have this lifestyle of working out, making it a lifestyle, so that it helps you. Like you can walk better, your back doesn't hurt that much. It's like that's all I kept thinking about Mom when she was down. I'm like, I wish she had done something, because we can actually do something about our old age. We can.
Yes, we can.
The whites
Now is
at
the
80, you see her running, and you're
with a straight
amazed.
back.
50,
guys,
70,
yeah.
they wake up and run.
Yeah.
And why can't we do that? It's not for the whites, it's
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
It's for their health, it's for them to enjoy their grannies, it's for them to be able to play with them, not to just sit there sick in, you know, this whole time. So that's honestly the lifestyle I want to own, so that I live longer, hopefully.
Or better,
with
have a
good,
better
or a better
life.
old age.
That's
Yeah.
your quality of life.
So it's interesting you talk about this, because I think about 2 weeks ago I was in a book club, and we were discussing retirement, and I found out that the Jews, there's 2 words that the Jews don't have in their vocabulary, which is teenager and retirement, because they don't retire. The Jews do not retire. They remain active.
Okay.
In whichever
They,
form.
in whichever form, they remain active. They never be there and desire a time when
Where they
they'll
just
put
chilling,
umbrellas
rocking
and
on a
chill
chair.
and rock on a chair.
Be like,
no,
Kemi, thank
they
you very
stay, they stay productive. And when you
Yeah.
think about it, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, like
They were all
lived for years
productive,
and they
yeah.
were still productive.
Yeah.
Some even still giving birth. But
That's
that's not where I was going. That's not, I digress. But I remember then reading, I'm going to say something, get ready. When I was going through this whole, reading through this book, I was like, no wonder some people can rule this nation, you know, of some ages, and they continue. Oh, yes. And yet their age mates have given up,
They
have
are in
decided they are
villages.
old, they can't drive, they can't do anything, yet their age mate is running.
Yeah.
In whatever shape or form. I don't care about it, but I'm like, it can happen. We can stay active. We can stay relevant. We can
Very
stay.
true. Yeah.
We can stay.
We can drive
I mean, I was on
ourselves.
vacation the other.
Tell us.
Speak,
Tell
girl.
us.
I was on vacation, guys, and we were meeting old people. I remember there's this couple that we met in France. Honey, how old were they?
70,
80 and 79.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'd been married 50 years.
Yeah.
And they were
You should have seen them telling us, that is the delicious. She has no glasses,
But she's
but she's there. And I asked her, I said, how do you do this? And she said, the things that they tell you to do, you don't want to do.
We don't.
Yeah.
So she says, me, I'm French. We eat vegetables. We eat protein.
Yes.
And I have no alternative but to stay healthy. You know, I was like, wow. I'm like, as I'm eating a chip, man, these chips, Satan, absolute Satan, I refuse in the name of Jesus. But like based on what you said, like one of the things that I came back from this trip saying was, you know, I can no longer want to work out to lose weight. Right? That is not that's
no
but to
longer.
look
Not
good.
no
To look
longer.
good.
No.
Now
No.
I've
you.
reached the age where I'm like, I need to work out for me.
For you.
Yes.
For my well-being.
For your
So
well-being.
that
your
when
fun.
I'm 80,
Yes.
I can
Your
walk.
fun.
Exactly. No one is carrying me. No one is lifting me. No
That's
one is
true.
helping me. No one is putting me. No. For
Myself.
myself.
Yeah.
So while it was scary before, I want to say that after I read that book, came to the realization that old age should not be a place of death. This is, you know, the Bible says God gives, old age is a gift. Right? Like it's a gift. The Bible says
it
it's a
should
gift
be
for you to
enjoyed.
see the sunset of your life.
of your years, yeah.
Why would I be doing it in pain? So I'm like, you
Right.
Rosette, I've come afresh and anew. I'm no longer trying to lose weight. I just want to be able
Just
to
be
walk.
fit.
I want to be able
Healthy.
to make good love with my husband.
Right.
Say it
There's
again.
many benefits. There's honestly many benefits. Even at 50, at 60, right? At 80, excited. Yeah.
No, actually, that
pan
French
the
woman
camera.
kept saying,
so
she's
true.
like, great sex is good. She's 80,
Yeah.
right? But she's there walking, her
Interesting.
footsteps are small, but she's there with her husband, they're holding, they're kissing, the lips are barely, you know, how the lips retreat. But they are kissing on the chateau. You're like, wow. Yeah,
That's
it's
very
that's-
admirable.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
what
where I'm
we
at
all
now. I'm
aim
feeling
for.
like it's,
I know.
Taking care of yourself.
yeah.
I'm glad that you're in that space because I got into that space, I think maybe 3 years ago. I go to the gym and the instructor can be like, do this, do this. And you're
Like my
"Please."
friends, I have a different goal.
It is important for me to have fun when exercising.
Yeah.
Because I want to make it a lifestyle.
Yes.
So that business, hey, Oba, you're not losing weight. He's shouting at other people in my heart. I was like, boss, I look good. If I were to speak to this question, of course, you guys already know I love my parents. My parents are together. They're like those Louvre people, just that they can't move that much. But I would like to speak. I have a friend of mine. His father fell sick, my cousin. His father fell sick, and they were wealthy. When the dad got cancer and he was stuck abroad, he had saved his money and bought, property. So he sold all his property to ensure that, his dad came home and they looked after him. Unfortunately, his dad passed away.
Oh dear.
And in his case, he says, it's one thing to lose your parent. It's another to have to carry the burden on your own, especially if you do not, one, come from a poor family, two, you do not have poor siblings. In his case, there's some anger to it. That of, like the building that you bought? Somebody has sold to ensure that they save a life, and even that life isn't saved. But within the family, they have enough money
that he didn't have to sell.
He didn't have to.
They could have put together.
Exactly. The parents themselves, either the mother or the father, could have sold some property to be able to do this. But at that point in time, you're thinking using emotions. And the emotion is telling you, I've got to save my parent. So I'm thinking, if we can prepare better, then we are making less emotional decisions. And then you don't end up having this thing, I loved my dad, but sometimes the situations I'm going through, because somebody within the family did not think it was a good idea to do the right thing. I think it was Pumla saying it last week when we were speaking to the ladies, and they said they feel sometimes burdened by the black tax. And she said, you see, black tax is a choice. You can sit and decide, I will give what I can. And I can assure you, children will be born, they will die, they'll go to school. Everything will continue happening, even without you completely undressing yourself. So that's what he did, but now years later you're thinking, So some people are feeling sad, others are actually, you feel that sense of anger. That now for him, what he's trying to do is plan to ensure that his children never have to find themselves in that position. My mom, I think last year, she got up, got her husband, said, we go. And they paid for funeral services.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, Mommy, why would you do that? It's as if you're saying you're going to die. People, the truth is, death is inevitable. And if you can leave this world without putting a very heavy burden, whether it's on your children or relatives or whatever, man, go ahead and do it. Get that insurance plan, put something aside, build a shop, have some rentals. So as you grow old, it's not always, because the truth is the onus and the honor is on our side to look after our parents. But as us guys who are parents right now, I wouldn't want my children to find themselves in a position whereby they have to do everything for me. I really would. And my time is here. I think maybe because my kids are older, I feel things farther than others. So if Charles is getting his salary and he's like, oh, Mama, I'd like to take you out for lunch. And then he pays. It feels good. But in my heart, I'm like,
you're taking
Kim, the time is coming.
Time is coming.
The time is
Already starting to feel like a child. And many of us probably are, and for many of us, maybe this conversation has evoked certain feelings. Let us know in the comment section and let's discuss. What are your fears growing old, or what are your fears with your parents now growing old? And for those of you that have navigated this journey, tell us in the comment section and advise us on what you think is the best route someone can take as they prepare for their own old age or their parents' old age. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode, and we can't wait to see you next week. If you'd like to shop our look, check out Instagram for Zuri Luxury, Shades of Beauty, fashion episode, and shoe puzzle. And if you're looking for a place where you can have a beautiful wedding, make sure you get in touch with Kemi, the bespoke planner. She has some really great ideas if you came to where we are right now, which is Chigo Gardens. Until next time, with love from Bump Love.